There's still no news of the Dornier aircraft that went missing off the Tamil Nadu coast 8 days back. Among those waiting for some good news is Deepa Lakshmi, wife of Subhash Suresh, pilot of CG791. Last night, a desperate Deepa Lakshmi tweeted, even tagging Prime Minister Narendra Modi's office, appealing to him for help. Obviously, the family is extremely anxious and worried about no news coming from the search operation of the Dornier aircraft. She did not wish to speak on camera, but Deepa did this phone interview with my colleague Shisha Reddy in Chennai. Let's listen in.
I haven't started any campaign and all. Myself and Mrs. Soni, both of us have tweeted to the PMO office requesting for help. It's just a simple request for help. We not got any reply from the PMO office. Every day morning they are calling, from the Coast Guard office, every day morning they are calling, we have formed a WhatsApp group, and every day morning and evening they give us the updates of what is going on from the Coast Guard front. We are totally shattered, and everybody is calling and asking, say the status and say this and that. We actually don't know what to say actually.
Joining me from the Delhi newsroom is my colleague Shiv Arur. Shiv, what's the Coast Guard telling you about the search operations? It's been 8 days since the Dornier aircraft went missing off the Tamil Nadu coast.
Well, very little has actually progressed successfully, unfortunately, Sudhir. The Coast Guard and the Indian Navy have their best resources, we can confirm here in India today, out there. There are 15 ships, some of them extremely specialized. We've got some aircraft, in the air, scouring that entire, area of operations. Also one submarine, Sudhir, which is actually trying to zero in on what, the search crew believe could be the precise location of this aircraft on the seabed, because they've been getting two signs which we reported from day before yesterday. An oil slick in that area which is very specific, and also a very weak, very feeble electronic signal which could be the emergency locator transmitter of that particular aircraft. But the seabed is very, very deep in this particular area, 800 meters below the surface.
Right.
So it's taking a long time to actually zero in on that precise location. But the Indian Navy and the Indian Coast Guard aren't sparing any effort whatsoever.
Absolutely. Shiv, thanks a lot for bringing us all those details. We'll continue to track this search operation closely with you. Shisha Reddy also spoke to Venkatesh, who is the uncle of Subhash Suresh in Chennai.
I'm now joined by Venkatesh, uncle of Subhash Suresh, who is the co-pilot in the Dornier aircraft, which is missing for the last 8 days. So thank you for talking to India today. So how have you been keeping your spirits up? It's been 8 days since the search operations begun.
Yeah, we have complete confidence in our boy. He's an extremely passionate flyer. One of the best in the in the field. Is youngest green badge holder, etc. So we believe that he'll be back. So that's what is keeping our confidence very high.
Right. So you have tweeted to the Prime Minister of India and appealed something should be done to expedite the process soon. So did you get any response from the Defence Minister or the Prime Minister himself?
Yeah, there was a phone call from the Defence Minister, not from him though, from his office, telling us that everything is happening, not to worry about it. And the reason that we tweeted is because there was some unconfirmed reports in the media that said that the search operation is expensive, so it's going to be given up. So we wanted support for that. And though the government confirmed, there is no such thing like that. And that's the reason we tweeted, and we did get the response for that.
Right. So you have also been in touch with the other family members as well. So what have you been talking about and discussing? In fact, this is trying to for you to be in touch and empathize with the situation of the others as well.
Yeah, see, because these are the families that can empathize with us. So we are continuously in touch with them. In the Air Force, Coast Guard station, as well as on WhatsApp group, etc., sharing what we are doing, what we will do. Right from visiting temples to visiting astrologers, so on and so forth. So that's been happening there.
Right. So what have you been telling Deepa and a 14-month-old son?
Actually it's the other way around, because Deepa is full of confidence on her husband, and she says that my husband is an extremely good pilot and he is safe somewhere, and she's asked us not to worry about him. And she says that I would live with him and she's just waiting for that particular day. and his mom has been continuously praying right from the day he's been missing. So we believe in her confidence and his mom's prayers. So, she's been the one who's taking care of the family.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's an extremely confident family. As we speak, the search operations are still on for the Dornier aircraft. With camera person Daniel Srisha Reddy in Chennai for India Today.
Obviously, the family, they are extremely anxious but also very brave in this hour of crisis. That report being brought to you there by Srisha Reddy, my colleague from Chennai. Our next report is from Bengaluru, and this story will definitely shock you. A Snickers candy bar actually was found with worms inside by a person who bought it at a shop in Bengaluru. In fact, despite being told that it is part of a new stock that had just arrived at that store in Bengaluru. Joining me now is Rohini Swami, who has more details. Rohini, has this particular buyer sent the candy bar to the lab for testing, and any reaction from the manufacturers? Rohini, if you can hear me,
Yes.
Yeah, Rohini, please go ahead.
Yes, what I was saying was that the person who actually found those worms in that candy bar is now contemplating whether he should be going to the consumer court or whether he should be sending it to a lab. But very clearly, when he opened it, he actually video recorded this entire thing where he saw these tiny worms coming out of this peanut candy bar. When I spoke to him, he said that since he lives in the outskirts of Bangalore, he did walk up to that shopkeeper and tell him what he found when he said it's absolutely new stock. Now, the point is that this man who has found this has now decided that he will now go to the government agency, which could possibly be the food control department, and show it to them and also ask for the seizing of these stocks. Now, this has to, like we've seen in other cases where other products also were pulled off the shelf, he's saying he wants this particular product also to be pulled off the shelf.
Right. Rohini, thanks a lot for bringing us those details. Do stay on with us because we'll be coming to you later in the show on that story on Greenpeace. But more bad news this time coming from Coimbatore, a very similar incident, in fact, where weevils and fungus were found in a Cerelac baby powder packet. Sriram, a resident of Coimbatore city in Tamil Nadu, had bought Cerelac for his baby a few days back. When he opened it, he found weevils and fungus in that pack. Following complaints sent to the food safety authorities, the Cerelac sample has now been sent for testing.
Someone from uneducated family member is trying to give it to their baby. It's going to have a lot of health problem for the child. So I want the government to take necessary action about it, and I would plead them to give quality product at least for baby consumables.
Extremely disturbing story coming there from Bengaluru and Coimbatore. Now, Greenpeace, an international NGO, finds itself in a soup following complaints that two of its former employees had alleged sexual harassment in the company. India Today has accessed exclusive mail details which were sent internally where the complainants had sought action against the accused. Greenpeace now claims that they had handled the case internally, but it was also inadequate as the then HR manager thought it was not a case fit to be taken as sexual harassment. But the victims are now crying foul, saying that why wasn't their complaint taken seriously in 2012 and why is action being taken now?
It has been an extremely lengthy process, and what me and a lot of my other female colleagues wanted to do is hold Greenpeace accountable on multiple accounts in terms of the prevalent sexual harassment culture that is very much a part of Greenpeace. We wanted to change that, and when you make a police complaint, you need a lot of evidence and a lot of data, and we try to see if we could fight it out internally. And we have also approached Greenpeace International, and it has taken a very long time, and it has been extremely a traumatic time for all of us at Greenpeace India and all the ex-colleagues of Greenpeace India. So we did try and think of going for a police complaint, but we wanted to see if we could sort this out internally first.
Let me cut across to Divya Raghunandan, spokesperson for Greenpeace India, who joins me from Bengaluru. Also, our Deputy Editor Rohini Swami is still with us from Bengaluru. Divya, You say that Greenpeace did not take adequate action. But as an international organization, wasn't it necessary that action should have been taken against the person accused, especially since I'm given to understand that this person has been a repeat offender?
I think, yes, with regard to the complaint that the complainant has made, I think that is pretty unfortunate, and I can totally understand a loss of trust. I think the organization has failed to deliver justice and live up to the expectations by actually treating that complaint with utmost seriousness and putting it into the committee. So I think there we have apologized, and we think there was an absolute flaw in judgment, and that is unacceptable, and I don't think we can take away the pain and the hurt that the complainants feel. So that's acceptable. I think what we've learned is to kind of strengthen our processes. We're looking at an external audit to completely revamp and re-look at how we're taking decisions, who's taking it, what complaints are coming and which ones are not. So I think this is a huge issue for us to introspect, and it in no way, I would say that, can make up for the time lost and the pain that people are going through. So that's absolutely valid.
Okay, so it's heartening to see, Mr. Raghunandan, that you're actually admitting that you did commit a lot of mistakes. But if you did conduct an internal investigation, why wasn't the version of the victims taken? Why didn't that happen?
Yeah, so I think that there was a sexual harassment complaint in 2012, which was acted upon inadequately. I don't think it was adequate enough. And yes, the Facebook post pushed us to reopen that case, and we requested permission to reopen that case. In one case we did not get permission, so we couldn't do it. In the other case we did. I think there's another allegation floating around on rape. I think the first time we ever heard of it was on Facebook. There was no complaint made, and it's a heinous and horrific crime, and we do think that it needs to be reported to the police with an FIR immediately. And Greenpeace would have to follow due process to support it in every which way we can. But there has to be a legal proceeding. But I just want to say that particular crime was the first we ever heard of it was in the Facebook post. And when we requested whether we could do something on that, we did not get permission from the complainant. So there was a
right, Rohini, you are hearing what Divya Raghunandan has to say, the spokesperson of Greenpeace India. They say that they failed in delivering justice, that they completely mishandled it. But do you get the sense that if it had not for the victim actually going public by writing that post on the social media, probably Greenpeace India would have completely hushed this matter up?
Absolutely, and that's what the victim feels, and that's what all those people who have been reading that post feel, that have been completely hushed up had it not come in the social media. And the point that is being made is, one is the fact of evidences that they're talking about. Well, these emails that we have are evidence is good enough for them, and that is why they decide to go out in the open. But more importantly, they're talking about a mentality that needs to change, a mentality of people who harass people in the workplace, a mentality of a change in mentality in the organizations to take to task people who harass others. These are the two important points they say, and they want them to be brought to book on that.
Right, Rohini Swami and Divya Raghunandan, thanks a lot for joining us on this extremely disturbing story coming from Bengaluru. From Bengaluru, a 30-year-old apartment in the Cunningham Road area of Bengaluru actually collapsed. In fact, cracks appeared on the floor, and this was apparently because of a construction of a building complex next door. In fact, there were lapses committed by that builder against who a case has now been registered. But does the municipal corporation also have some responsibility? Pratibha Raman sent us this report from Bengaluru.
What you see here is the result of the under construction site in the adjacent area. Legacy is the real estate company that has been planning a 20-story building in the adjacent area, and the result of which tremors were felt here, and there was a crackdown that happened yesterday in the morning at around 7:30. It all started with a 40-feet foundation that was being laid in this particular area, and it uprooted 2 trees, and following which the compound wall collapsed, causing tremors in both the adjacent apartments. One is the Queen's Corner that you see here, and this C complex, at least about 31 tenants have already evacuated, gripped with fear, and even the IT colony, which is right here behind this, has also people, at least about 8 tenants have evacuated from there, and now this particular hollow space requires at least about 10 tankers of concrete now to ensure that this hollowness would be filled and such a crackdown does not really take place. Now, the question is who are to be blamed. Now the BBMP as well as the SSB assess the situation here. The police has filed a case against Legacy for not following the safety norms. But the question also arises as to an old building like this, if it has to face a crackdown, does that question the kind of pipelines that are being laid underground causing all this kind of collapse here? With camera person Madhu, Pratibha Raman, Bangalore, India Today.
Since 2 days we don't have a drinking water even. The pipeline is totally broken. This income tax department's wall, backside, that all mud, it was sliding. And because of the sliding, this tree and pillar was uprooted. It was fallen down. And because of that effect, our wall also was fallen down in a corner.
The builder has not taken adequate precautionary measures. While digging so deep, he should have ensured that all the 4 walls are made secure with pile foundations. That has not been done, and so that is the major cause of this collapse.
Welcome back. You're with Up South. Yesterday we had reported on an FIR being lodged against superstar Rajinikanth's wife Latha in Bengaluru by a firm which alleged that they had given her money. But today in a statement, Latha Rajinikanth denied being a guarantor for any loan as alleged by a Bengaluru-based firm and threatened serious legal action against its owners for filing a police complaint against her. And finally, what's in fashion this monsoon in Kerala? Underwater weddings.
Plunging into a relationship has a new meaning this monsoon in Kerala. And since your partner for life is meant to take your breath away, underwater weddings are just the way to start this new innings. As more and more couples get set to say I do underwater, Richard Anthony is an underwater photographer in demand.
And studied the dynamic of underwater. It's too tough to breathe underwater, so I have been trained myself in scuba diving.
Underwater wedding photography, however, will leave you high and dry. Each picture will cost you up to 10,000 rupees and about 2.5 lakh rupees for shooting an entire wedding. But the most difficult part is to hold your breath and pose.
My next project is into monsoon wedding photography, again with water. It's also challenging a new subject, but I am hoping that by God's grace it should be well.
Now couples will explore the underwater dynamics of a marriage ceremony. Bureau Report, India Today.
That's it then on Up South. News and updates will continue on India Today at 7 o'clock. Viewers speak. Call in on our show to discuss whether chocolates and baby food are indeed safe. That's coming up at 7 o'clock.